The story of the prodigal son is a classic story of love. I would title it alternatively. I was attempting to find different titles. It's a good exercise because it helps you to understand it better. And the titles I came upon are the story of the tremendous lover. Does it fit? The story of the reckless lover. During the first mass, somebody said the story of the prodigal father. The story of the extravagant lover. I think Eunice said overloving, right? The story of the extravagant lover. The story of the kind father. The story of the merciful and forgiving father. The story of the steadfast love of God. And the parable is an illustration of the tender heart of God. How tender God's heart is. This is one of the most moving parables and one of the most well-known parables of Jesus Christ. It's a classic story. It will belong to stories that are called classics. It outlines God's infinite love and his willingness to forgive and to forget. Now, on this occasion, let us try and trace the processes of conversion. What processes do people go through to get converted? First is what? Realization. Realization of what? Realization that where I am is not where I ought to be. You see, one of the challenges we have in this country is that we have done things badly for so long that many of us don't realize that the way we do things is not the way things are supposed to be done. It's one of our problems. We don't even realize we are in a mess. But many people have organized, the society has been organized around the mess. Is that not true? We are in a mess, but the society has been organized around the mess. Somebody said that so the society survives on corruption, meaning that if you stop corruption for a moment, the society will attempt to crumble. Am I exaggerating? So many people don't even realize that this is not how things should be. But the first stage in the processes of conversion is what? Realization. Your eyes must be open. Realizing that a mistake has been made. That things are not the way they should be. Like the prodigal son who experienced ultimate degradation after giving free rein to his impulses, to his fleshy desires, to his carnal desires, to the lusts of the flesh, the lust of the eyes. After giving free rein to all this and living recklessly and carelessly, he began to recognize that this is not what things should be. This is not where I should be. When one commits sin and experiences, the person experiences what somebody said, loss of the state of grace. The person experiences alienation, what Chinedu called excommunication. Alienation from God. You know, when in those days they say the church excommunicates somebody, and it has been corrected. The church does not excommunicate somebody. Somebody excommunicates himself by virtue of what you have done. Do you understand, Father Okoro? Is that not what the church teaches? The church does not excommunicate anybody. All the church does is pronounce for you what you have done. What is telling you? Realize that what you have done, by this act, you stand excommunicated by your act. So you commit a grievous sin, you have alienated yourself from God. It is not God that has sent you away. It is you that have taken yourself away from God. During the faith clinic, I had a chat with somebody here, and the person was talking about God. Why will God be punishing people? And I said, God does not punish anybody. Who punished the prodigal son when he was suffering and having to look for food of pigs? Did anybody punish him? Now, that is the nature of sin. It is the nature of sin that we suffer grievously when we are living in sin. Actually, rather than saying God punished the person, God is agonizing. God is suffering on account of seeing his beloved person suffering. But God will not go and force the person. When the young man came and asked for half of his property and decided to go and live recklessly, could the father stop him? Yesterday too, I had a young lady with me and who said she wishes that God didn't give us this choice. Right? That God should not give us choice. God should just allow us, God should just program us so that everything we do will be good. That could have been nice, but God decided that we should have freedom to decide. I was talking of deciding. We have the power to decide. And she said, I wish I didn't have that power to decide. But in his own wisdom, God created us with the power to decide. So the young man decided on what he wanted to do and how he wanted to squander his resources. He decided, and God allowed him. Because God respects our freedom so much. So when we commit sin, we lose our state of grace, we lose our friendship with God, even though God will still want to be our friend and is reaching out every day. That's why he sent prophets, one after the other. That's why he sent his son Jesus Christ to die for us, reaching out to us. Please come and be my friend. That life you're going to live outside my house is not a good life. You won't enjoy it. When we commit sin, we have a loss of purpose. The Lord has designed us. It's like we have been designed like an electronic equipment with a manual. When you follow the manual in doing the installation, for example, we just bought during the week a new generator to power our ACs. And what happened? We had to go through the manual and go through the direction of installing it. Otherwise, it won't work as it is working now. Now, the Lord has designed us. There is the designer's prescription that comes with each one of us. And if we don't follow the designer's prescription, what happens? We experience a loss of meaning, a loss of purpose. St. Augustine says, the Lord has created us for himself, and our hearts are restless until they rest in him. One of the things sin does to us is that we suffer alienation from the source of our ultimate meaning. What gives meaning to us? That's why I said here last Sunday that I have never met a Christian, a real Christian who knows Jesus Christ, who commits sin and is happy. You remember I said that? I have never met a real Christian, one who knows Jesus, one who has been to the mountaintop, as I do say, who commits sin and it is happy, and the person is happy. No. There is the difference between pleasure and joy. Did that young man, did he have joy? Did he have pleasure? Yes, of course. A lot of it. An overdose of pleasure. But did he have joy? That's another story entirely. No one who really lives in sin can truly be happy and joyous, because the Lord has created us for himself and our hearts are restless. The one whose heart is restless, can he really be in joy? No way. You know, a lot of people the young man had the good life. Had a good life. Had the company of his women, he had the company of his men friends, he had the booze. Plenty of it. So he had a lot of pleasure. He had a good life. But he didn't have joy. And we see it these days, we see it every time, of a lot of people who have all the good things that life can bring. He can buy whatever kind of car that is raining. He can see any beauty queen and make his girlfriend. He can afford to go to Casablanca for Easter holiday and go to Dubai for May Day holiday and go to where else. He can afford it and goes anytime. But the next day you notice that he's on drugs. He's on drugs because he's suffering some depression. Is he happy? No. But he has a good life. So there's a difference between the good life and a life of true happiness. Now, a person who is living in sin suffers emptiness and futility. And when he went through all this, the prodigal son recognized that this is not where he belongs.